And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey from Cryptozoic Games, designed by Knizia. This is a cooperative game in which players are following the trail of the hobbits. This one is actually based on the movie. There is some differences in the movie and the book, so this one is going to follow the movie more so. Now, this will remind you, Knizia is one of the people who really brought the cooperative game to life. He designed Lord of the Rings, which came out over a decade ago, with this cooperative, and you followed the Fellowship as they went to take the ring to Mount Doom. This is actually only the first of a trilogy of games, because this one's based on the first movie that came out in 2012. There will be another one on the next movie, and so on, and the games can be played kind of chronologically. Let me show you how it plays, and we'll talk more about that. Alright, in this game, players are going to be traveling through different boards. The first board is the Shire and the Lone Lands. The second board will be the Misty Mountains. And future boards will also be added. This is just the beginning of the journey for Bilbo Baggins and the group of dwarves here. Now, each board is played fairly similarly, and so what players are going to do at the beginning of each round is they're going to get dealt several of the people from the band. And so you might get Bilbo or Dwalin or Glolin and so on and so forth. There will be two of them that are left over and are placed next to the board. These are people that you will have a chance to get added to your party as time goes by. What you're trying to do on each board is basically make it through that board. There's a bunch of challenges that are printed on the board, and you are going to have to fulfill each of those challenges. These challenges are going to involve running, which is the picture of the rabbits, or diplomacy, which is the picture here of Gandalf, or sometimes fighting, which is the picture of the axe. There are a bunch of white dice, each to have 1 and 2 symbols of the 3 different types. On a player's turn, the first thing they're going to do is turn over an event card. Now, this event card may have something that it does for this turn. For example, this one here says you cannot re-roll this turn. Sometimes it says you must roll 1 diplomacy symbol and put it on this card before you go this turn. Other ones will add an extra challenge to the board that you must finish. And then others, even still, will upgrade a challenge on the board. Here it says keep the troll William talking, and it's 5 diplomacy. This will change it to 5 diplomacy and 2 fighting. So that's what players will be doing. The first thing you do in your turn is you draw that. Then you're going to try to accomplish as many challenges as you can. To do that, you will roll these dice. You then, if you want to, can allocate any number of dice to one of the challenges. However, the challenges on the top, the ones that have the running on them, those must be done in order from left to right. The ones on the bottom can be done in any order. So let's say, okay, chase after the dwarves to join them. I can put that there. That die is really stuck there at this point in time. I have 1 free reroll, unless of course I pulled that card that says I don't. Here I rolled 2 more rabbits, and I have a leftover rabbit and axe and really nowhere to go. Since I finished this adventure here, I'll put a quill on it so we can write about it and tell people great stories about it in the future. If I don't put out a quill, then the bottom board resource here is discarded. And there's 6 resources added to each board. If you lose the last resource, then the game's over and you lost. And at the same time, if it's time for you to draw an event and all the events have been drawn, then another resource will come off. So you have to finish as quickly as you can. And you can finish multiples of these. Now, to make things easier, you have these the gathering here, the folks that you can use. For example, Bilbo can basically be used as a wild. Dwalin can be used as 2 diplomacy. The hand shows that you can use him as 1 diplomacy on someone else's turn, or fighting, or running. Several of the dice, several of the dwarves, like Ori here, will allow you to add a gold die. This die is the same as the white dice, except instead of 1s and 2s, it is 2s and 3s. So you can see having that will be a great advantage. Thorn even can allow you to use that gold die, give someone else the gold die in their turn. Several of the dwarves will allow you to re-roll the dice an additional time. Or if you use it on someone else's turn, they can re-roll 2 of their white dice. Philly will double one of the white dice, and Killy lets you take one of the white dice and place it on any side you want. Probably one of the best characters in the game. Now, when you use one of these dwarves or hobbit, you will stick them next to the board. There are some challenges that when you defeat them, you can take one of the dwarves or hobbits next to the board and place them back in front of you. So you can get these guys back, and you will also get them back between boards. So you might as well use them. It's just knowing when to use them. You also have equipment up here that you can use. For example, you can see here that you can use ponies to give yourself 2 free running symbols. Or I can use Bilbo Baggins' pipe to cancel an instant card when it's drawn from the events. And here I can double all my white dice by using Gandalf. Now these are great to use. The problem is you're really trying to get a score in this game, and at the end of the game, all the items that you still have, you'll add up the score on those to see what your final score is. So every time you use one, you are effectively lowering your score. Now once you beat board 1, and we hope you do, then you do that by completing every adventure that's down there. When there's a quill on all of them, then you've defeated it. You then take any leftover equipment, resources that you didn't have to discard, and you will add those to the board up here, effectively increasing your score. Then you will then remove this board and bring out the next board, and that board has level 2 resources, which you actually won't use in this game because they're to be used on board 3, but they will affect your final score. And again, if they all disappear, the game will be over. I should mention that there's also an alternate thing that you can do. For example, here's a goblin's treasure pile up here in the corner. You don't have to do this adventure. It's just something extra that you can do. But if you do it, it will give you more points, and there is a reward. For example, here you get 2 dwarves that are brought back to you that you can use. And that's how you play the game. You're either going to lose by running out of the resources on one of the boards, or you eventually make it through the boards, at which point you take all the resources that you've gotten, plus any treasures that you've gotten and haven't used, add their totals together, and that's your final score. I was concerned when I first played this that it was only 1/3 of a game, because essentially at the end of board 2, all those resources you move up and then you go to board 3. Well, where is board 3? Well, it's in the next game. And you say, well, I'm not getting a whole game. Well, no, it does feel like a whole game. Now, granted, I would like to play them together to see how it goes from one to the next, and I would guess there'd be 6 boards total, 2 in each game. But the whole thing plays really well and really smoothly. I really enjoyed it. To me, this blows Reiner Knizia's Lord of the Ring out of the water. I felt like you had more control in this one. Although, granted, there's a lot of dice. Essentially what this game is it's a dice manipulation game. You roll dice and then you see how you can manipulate them. How can I change them? How can I add to the number? Everyone's working together saying, oh, I'll let you use this dwarf. I'll do this guy at this point. And it can be very hard. If you beat it on the original level, you can start with some of the extra event cards already on the board, adventures on the board, which can greatly increase the difficulty. And of course that will add, you have to get a lower score when that happens. All that's very entertaining for me. I like rolling the dice. I like using the dwarves. I like the different, should we use this item? I hate to lose those points, but at the same time, we're going to die if we don't use it. Very good. The artwork, well, I mean, it's mostly pictures and stuff from the movies, but it's done very well, the graphic design. And I think this is a good one for families. This is going to be an easy game for people to get into. It's not difficult, and the cooperative level of the game, the nature of the game, has people working together. So I will come back and revisit this when the next one comes out, but it is a game that stands on its own. It is a good cooperative game. It is one that I enjoy. The Hobbit, an unexpected journey, an unexpected good game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
Yeah?